Could a garage get your home sold? Yes. We'll go into that as well as these projects could lower the value of your home. And should you get a home inspection and bank owned properties of the week, talking about Grand Park Circle again, and Apple House of the Week and Mountain View House of the Week, as well as the 40 days on market report. Let's get moving. Could your garage get your home sold? Yes, it could actually help you with selling the house. Now, are you going to get value out of the house if you upgrade your garage? Possibly, right? Depends on this buyer that comes through and says, oh my God, I have to have this totally decked out garage. It looks so amazing. Most people don't care. Most people come in, park their cars on the driveway, and then use it as storage. So keep in mind, if it's something that you want to enjoy while you're living there, absolutely do it. But certain things that people do want to look for. Replacing your garage door is imperative. My garage has a pole right in the middle of where the roll up would go. So I can't put a roll up. I have the old plywood, heavy tilt up garage door, and it annoys me. I can move the post on either side of this beam, but it's just not worth it for me. So I never really cared. What I'll probably do is wind up getting the roll up panels, stick them together so that they're sturdy, and then make it into a tilt up. So that even looks more modern than my dumpy old looking garage door. Does it add value? Absolutely. In this market, I don't know if it really matters though. Finishing out the garage, meaning make it look like this, where you have all sorts of dangles on it, TV, workbench, make it look like yours. Absolutely. Are you going to get the value out of it? Probably not, right? Just adding epoxy could be a couple $100 to do it yourself, or $3,000 or $4,000 if you have somebody else do it. Should you do it? I don't think anybody cares unless they're garage heads, right? If they're gear heads and they absolutely love being in their garage, that's something. But I want to say 95, 98% of the houses I go through, they don't have a finished garage. Maybe they have paint on the walls, drywall and painted. They're not even taped, or they're taped, but they're not floated out and textured. They're just boring looking, right? Storage is huge, especially in older houses. This house is 2,300 square feet and it sucks. The storage is horrible. I had to build a wall in my pantry to underneath my stairs to get more. In these older homes, it wasn't a concept 50 something years ago. Today in newer homes, there are places for more storage. I'm selling down in how there's 2,600 square feet of attic space. You walk up a flight of stairs in the garage and you can go into this walk around attic. It was designed that way. Huge. Storage is a huge thing. So if you want to turn your garage into a storage unit, absolutely. But then you don't get to park your car in it. If your house does not have a garage, a lot of the older houses don't have. They might have a detached garage or something like that. If you want to add a garage, like a third car garage, I always thought maybe I'd put a third car garage on my side yard because I have one big side yard. The value wasn't there. I couldn't get my ROI out of it. It would have cost me tens of thousands of dollars. For that, I might as well throw stuff away or get a storage unit. So I never got that. Doing a garage conversion, if you're thinking about turning into a living space, it's always an opportunity, but most buyers don't care for it, at least the buyers I work with. So can you add value to it? Yeah, you can turn a 3-bedroom into a 5-bedroom if you wanted to, or maybe a 4-bedroom or like a little mini suite. Then how do you put a bathroom in there? How do you put plumbing in there? It's a pain. So how do you figure it out? You can absolutely add value to it. And if you do that, then your buyer becomes an investor. So keep that in mind. You're not looking for a family anymore when you go to sell it. When I tell you about doing these renovation projects, I'm always talking about ROI and who the buyer is that would buy something like this, right? Because you have to know who you're selling to. These projects could lower the value of your home. Do-it-yourself projects that look DIY. I've seen homes that just yell. I knew a guy who put doors on himself and he didn't understand the concept of having the door go into the frame so it locked onto the frame. Just have an expert do it, show you how to do it, or have somebody do it with you. But if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. I do that REWTF line on my Facebook all the time. People love it. It's because people don't know what they're doing. They just assume that they're thinking that this is a good idea, and then they do it, and then they wound up creating a big turd that they have to have repaired, or it becomes other people's problems. Garage conversions could probably give you less value because people don't want it unless they're investors. Depends on who you're selling to. Typically what we do is if I come into a house and it has garage conversion and there's a suite in there or a house or a room or what have you, I just say leave it. If the buyer wants us to remove it, we remove it. or we can say, we have 5 other offers. Nobody else asked for it. If you want to use it to rent out or have your grown kids live in, that's something you can think about. Luxury custom upgrades. What's an example of that? Like a wine storage thing underneath your stairwell that's refrigerated. That's great, but in this neighborhood, it probably wouldn't pass. If you were in Los Gatos, it would be expected, right? Trash compactors. Love trash compactors. I wish they were still a thing, but it's past vogue. People really don't expect it. And a lot of people don't know what to do with it, and it's hard to find them anymore. Luxury custom upgrades, things that are just totally out of the whack. High-end windows in a neighborhood like that. Not saying that I live in a nice neighborhood. I don't live in a luxury neighborhood like Gatos or Saratoga or Palo Alto. My house is not worth $20 million. If I had a $20 million house, I would be putting in high-end custom upgrades. So think about the neighborhood that you're in. What we call that is designed obsolescence. Doesn't work well with the design and flow of that neighborhood. Like putting in an 8-bedroom house in a neighborhood that typically has 4 or 5 bedrooms. Home additions. If you have a 3-bedroom and a 900 square foot house, you add on another suite for your master with the bedroom, hallway, bathroom, and a walk-in closet, and all that. Absolutely, you can do it, but you got to get something out of it. So enjoy it. Get that utility out of it, because you're not going to get the ROI out of it except for after maybe 20 years once it's paid off, because the value of money will go up. So you're sinking money into it. If you don't plan on going anywhere in 15, 20 years, then absolutely think about it. But if it's something that you're like, it's going to cost me $250,000 to add on an extra room. And I know down here, it's not at California, going to cost you that much, right? Because contractors are busy and they're going to tell you, hey, if it's going to be worth my time, it's going to be worth this much money. So there you go. I always tell people pools are a love-hate thing. You either want to have a pool or you don't. There's a big population of people that absolutely don't want a pool. So we take pools off the list. There's people that absolutely want to have a pool. And there's some people that are in between. They're like, I don't care if I get a pool or not. So we don't worry about it. But pools can be a maintenance nightmare. They can be very costly. You could be paying $400, $500, $600, $700 a month to maintain them, with the water and electricity and everything, and then having to repair pools and having your pool guy come in. It's a costly endeavor, something that you can enjoy. If you're a pool person, absolutely do it. But understand that pools are like a 45% of the people absolutely love pools, percent of the people absolutely don't want pools, and there's some other people in between. Sunrooms started dying out in the 90s. Nowadays, I have a friend that just put one in. It's amazing. And the way his yard lays out, it works perfectly. Instead of doing an addition, he put a sunroom in, and it encloses. It's not completely sealed off from the weather, so it's still considered a sunroom. It's great to have if it's something you're going to use, but if you're going to use it. Like I have a pergola. I go out maybe once or twice a year. Wish I never put it in. I like it. It's very nice looking, but I don't know. Maybe somebody, if I ever sold the house, they'll be like, oh, this is the best thing ever. Don't go overboard on landscaping, especially for a neighborhood. Now, if you have 5 acres and everything's lush in your neighborhood and you have to have water features, absolutely. But if you have a 20 by 30 front yard, don't put in a 10-foot fountain. Go with the flow of what the neighborhood looks like, right? So don't go overboard. Should you get a home inspection before you put your house on the market? Yes, for a couple reasons. One, it gives you an opportunity, and I've been telling you this because I always tell you to download this home inspection checklist. Get one before. I just had my inspector go out to my house and my listing in Hollister to do a run through. The main reason why you want to do it is because you want an as-is offer to come in. So you give the buyer the inspection saying, this is what's wrong with the house. These are little things that I did fix up, but there you go. Because if you don't have that inspection done, the buyer's going to have that inspection done and a termite inspection done. They're going to come back to you, say, you didn't disclose $30,000 worth of termite repair. I want you to fix that, right? That's the number one reason why you want to do it. But let's go into what Wall Street Journal says. Waiving an inspection became a negotiation tool for buyers navigating the pandemic. It was even before that here in the Valley. After 2008, we started seeing as-is offers come in. And as is means there's no inspection. You're waiving the inspection. You're waiving any kind of fees. You're waiving any kind of credits as is, right? So when it's a hot, crazy market, you absolutely should do it. When it's a cool market like it is right now, you should do it because you don't want people coming in saying, I'll give you $2 million for your house. And they do the inspections that come back with $50,000 in repairs, which you have to do or give them a credit for. I'd rather you spend $1,500 on it. People do get outside of the Valley. It's not expected, but here in the Silicon Valley, it's pretty much a norm for us to have inspections done because we want that easy transaction. It's not required by law. It's just something that we suggest because real estate has to be a transparent transaction. By having a third party come through and tell you what's wrong with the house, you're alleviating yourself of any issues. But also, we're laypersons. We don't know how to look at every nook and cranny. My checklist goes through every little bit and piece, but are you going to go underneath the house and make sure there's no leaks? Are you going to go up in the attic and do that? That's what an inspector does. They give you a full picture of what you're looking at there. What's going to cost? I'll tell you, 3,500 square foot house is going to be about $1,500. If you have a pool, it'll be more. If you have a foundation, it'll be more issues. It could be about 12 for a smaller home, but just getting in that area, that's the norm here in the Valley. Not $400 anymore. That was inflation. Third-party inspector will check major systems, mechanicals, windows, doors. So they check everything, dishwasher, washer and dryer, everything. They want to make sure it works. And if not, then they're going to write it down. I've heard of agents getting pissed off at the inspector saying, you shouldn't have disclosed that. Here's the thing. I would rather over disclose and scare away crappy buyers or buyers that might be timid, get into contract with a timid buyer, and then they go, oh, there's $30,000 worth of damage. I got to get out. And that becomes their right. I want to find the right buyer for that house so that it alleviates any kind of problems for my client. When should you do a pre-inspection, pre-listing inspection? I do it right before. We bring in the handyman or contractors, we get it all fixed up, and then we have the inspector come in. If you find something big, then we can identify it and go through it later. Always disclose anything you do to your house. Replace a plug, a switch, a light, floors, windows, anything. Disclose it, right? I don't have to do the dishwasher, do I? Yeah, just disclose it. Why not? Again, there's no advice on what you should repair. I always say if it's obvious, like a crack in the window, a crack in the wall, or a buckling of the floors, have that attended to. Figure out what the problem is, get that fixed, because that's going to scare away buyers. The little things you can leave, but I'd say get them done, right? I just had a client for another house replace plugs and switches because it was the old bisque color and you wanted to turn it white. So just depends on what you want to do. No house is perfect. No house is perfectly level. No house is perfectly plumb or square. Understand that when you're buying a house, it's made by human beings and it's an imperfect product. You're going to have dips and curves, especially older houses that are 56 years old are going to have some growing pains and they're going to have some old bones. They're going to break and fall down. You're going to have waves, imperfect walls, right? So what we want to make sure is anything that's safety related. Hey, your water heater looks like it's going to blow up. You might want to have that replaced. Or your toilet seems to be leaking. You should have that fixed. And obviously disclose it. Yeah. And smaller fixes and maintenance issues can have an impact because once a buyer sees a crack in the wall, they're going to be like, oh, I wonder what else is wrong with this house. And now instead of it going, oh, this is a beautiful house. I love the kitchen. I love the bathroom. They're going to be looking for imperfections. And where they find one imperfection, they're going to see 100 of them. And they'll be like, that house needs some repair or maintenance. I'd rather have it taken care of. So the current trend is stainless steel appliances. And here's my problem with appliances. They are all crap. KitchenAid's a good brand, but I have GE and I just spent $1,200 on relatively new appliances. They're like 5 or 6 years old. And I had to have $1,200 to repair a refrigerator, the oven, and the dishwasher. Some appliance manufacturers build in the obsolescence so that they start dying over a few years. KitchenAid doesn't do that. If you have white or black appliances, it might turn off some buyers. Just think of that because you're looking at $6,000, $7,000 to replace all that to make it look brand new. Do I really need a pre-listing inspection? No, you don't. But understand that the buyer has the right and duty to have their own inspections done. You can present them with the offer, with the inspections along with the disclosures. They can sign it, and then halfway through, they can say, you know what? I didn't see this on the inspection, and it wasn't disclosed. I want to have a full inspection done. So be careful with that. The older the house, the stronger we increase between fall. Should you do inspection and repairs? Yeah. Make your house look nice. Make it look like a showroom. Make it look like you've done the work, right? I have multiple videos on packing your stuff, making your house look showroom ready, get it staged up with your own furniture, make it look nice and pretty. 3 things on every surface, that kind of thing. Having the inspections is part of the work. There you go. Enough said. Home inspection checklist downloaded today. Bank-owned property of the week, Grand Park Circle. Again, still on the market after 48 days. Wonder what's wrong with it. It was overpriced for the condition. And I think this was the crack house that we had earlier this year. So Be careful. Last couple days to vote, register to vote. If you haven't registered, get out there and register. I have my ballot right here. I'm going to be turning it in a couple days. House of the week, $2.8 million, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,300 square feet, built in 1962. But guys, look, this is a beautiful house. It's dated, but that's okay. It still looks nice and pretty. They put new lights in, new paint, updated the floor. It's going to sell pretty quick. This is on market just a couple days, 7 days. If you're thinking about buying a house, going to open houses, download this checklist. It walks you through the house so you can compare and contrast 5, 6, 7 houses so you don't go nuts. Valencia house, Mountain View house of the week, Valencia Ave, not my listing, $3.5 million, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,400 square feet, built in 2009. And the best part about it is that it has an HOA. But you can also walk to Castro Street where you have nice restaurants. Over the last couple of months, I started doing this new chart and a grid, and I wanted to show you a visualization of it. In order to have it a balanced market, San Jose needs to have about 1,000 homes for sale, plus or minus. Right now, we're at 440. In June, the highest this year was 533. We need to have 1,000. That's why prices continue to go up. It has nothing to do with the cost of houses, ability, interest rates. People are going to continue to move here. We're not building enough houses. We don't have enough for sale. So once we get to 1,000, we'll have a balanced market. But right now, you're still in a seller's market. Same thing with Santa Clara County. We need to be about 2,000, 1,800 to 2,200. But right now, we're at 700. And at its peak, we were at 1,138. So